My child, I come to you in this moment when your heart seeks answers. I hear your sighs, I count your tears, and I feel your doubts. Before the world took shape, before the stars adorned the heavens, I knew your name. In the vastness of the universe that I created with my own hands, it is you, small and precious, that I seek every day. I see how you have struggled, your sleepless nights, your days of uncertainty, the burdens you carry as if they were mountains on your shoulders. Do you realize that as you come across this message, it is not by chance that it has reached you? Just as I sent ravens to feed Elijah in the wilderness, when all seemed lost, 1 Kings 17:6, I send you now these words as nourishment for your soul. The world around you may seem chaotic, like an ocean in a storm, but I am the same God who calmed the waters with just a word, Matthew 8:26. Your circumstances may change, your relationships may fail, your health may falter, but my love for you remains unwavering like a rock in the storm. If this message has touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with others who also need to hear it. Subscribe to this channel of transformation so that we can continue this journey together. For just as the manna fell from heaven each morning to feed my people in the desert, Exodus 16, I desire to feed your soul daily with my word. My child, I recognize your pains. I was with you when the silence invaded you, and that voice whispered in your heart, "Tomorrow is the last day." I saw the fear take hold of your being, the panic of death envelop you like an icy cloak. But it was not the end of your life that it announced. It was the end of the prison you built around yourself. This is the truth I want to reveal to you today. I have given you countless chances. And now, I offer you one last opportunity. Not just to change, but to decide, to choose between the love that sets free and the resentment that imprisons, between the forgiveness that heals and the bitterness that corrodes. I did not bring you this far to abandon you. Nor did I allow you to pass through such dark valleys, to leave you wandering aimlessly. Like a patient potter who molds the clay in his hands, Isaiah 64:8. I have been working on your life, even when you do not understand my methods. The scars you carry are not signs of failure, but marks of a story we are writing together, a story of redemption. My child, how many days have you wasted feeding that resentment against your father who hurt you and disappeared? Do you remember that I am also a father who never abandons his children even when they stray, just like the father in the parable of the prodigal son, Luke 15:11-32, who looked to the horizon every day waiting for his son's return. So too your earthly father, with all his flaws and imperfections, carries an image of me. The clock advances ceaselessly, and every second that passes is a grain of sand that slips through the hourglass of life. Forgiveness is not for him, it is for you. Freeing yourself from the burden of hate is allowing your soul to fly again. Do you see how the time around you seems to bend? These are signs I send to awaken you. How many nights have you spent reliving the harsh words, the moments of abandonment, the broken promises? I know that the pain is real, that the wound still bleeds when touched. But my child, while you hold this resentment in your hands, it is as if you are drinking poison, hoping someone else will get sick. The only one who suffers is you. The one who hurt you may never acknowledge the harm he caused. He may never apologize or try to repair the damage. But your liberation does not depend on his actions. It depends on your decision to release the chains that bind you to the past. When Joseph forgave his brothers who sold him into slavery, Genesis 45, he did not wait for an apology. He understood the greater purpose behind the suffering. And your sister, the one who once shared with you joys and sorrows, why have you allowed the wall of anger to grow between you? Look at your hands. I created them to build bridges, not barriers, to reach out to your neighbor, not to close into fists of wrath. The unspoken words accumulate like stones in a river, diverting its natural course and creating whirlpools of confusion. That argument you had years ago, the harsh words exchanged in the heat of the moment, the hasty judgments, all this can be washed away by the water of sincere dialogue. Just as I reconciled Jacob and Esau after years of separation and resentment, Genesis 33, I wish to reconcile you with your sister. The choices you make today will echo through eternity. When Moses stood before the Red Sea with the Egyptian army approaching, he had two options: surrender to fear or trust in me. He chose faith, and the waters parted. Exodus 14. Before you also lies a sea of possibilities. Just take the first step towards the promised land, and that relationship that drags you into the abyss, that sucks your energy and dims your light. How long will you still allow the chains of fear to keep you bound? I created you to soar in the heights like eagles, not to crawl chained to the limitations that others impose on you. I know you are afraid of loneliness, of the unknown, of starting over. But I ask you, is it not better to be alone for a while than to be poorly accompanied forever? Is it not better to face the desert for 40 days, like Jesus, Matthew 4:1-11, than to live eternally in a poisoned oasis? Remember that you are never truly alone. I am with you until the end of the age. Matthew 28:20. The pending choices in your life are like ripe fruits waiting for harvest. If you do not harvest them now, they will rot, and the opportunity to taste their sweetness will have passed. Do not leave for tomorrow what you must do today, for tomorrow does not belong to you. Only now is in your hands. The world around you is changing, my child. Disturbing news, recurring dreams, messages that seem like coincidences. None of this is by chance. I am moving heaven and earth to reach your heart before it is too late. Just as I sent plagues to Egypt to free my people from slavery, Exodus 7-12, I send you these signs to free you from your own prisons. Have you noticed how the sky seems different lately? How the clouds form patterns you've never seen before? How the wind whispers messages that only your heart can interpret? These are not illusions, my child. It is my voice trying to break through the barrier of your distraction. The dreams that visit you during the night are not mere products of your subconscious. They are love letters that I send directly to your soul. That figure that appears repeatedly, that familiar place but you can't identify, that feeling of urgency upon awakening. I am using all available resources to capture your attention. As the hours pass, the weight of truth is revealed. What you do today will not only save your own soul, but also that of someone you love deeply, someone who is on the edge of the abyss, about to give up. Just as the widow of Zarephath was preparing her last meal for herself and her son before dying, when I sent Elijah to multiply her flour and her oil, 1 Kings 17:8-16, I send you now to be an instrument of salvation for those you love. Don't you see how magnificent this plan is? How perfect is this web that intertwines your destiny with the destiny of those I placed in your path. Nothing is coincidence in my kingdom. Every encounter, every word exchanged, every look shared has a divine purpose. If you are feeling this calling resonate in your heart, share your testimony in the comments. Tell me how you have perceived my presence in your life, even in the darkest moments. Your story can be the beacon that guides someone back to safe harbor. For just as I multiplied the loaves and fishes to feed thousands, Matthew 14:13-21, I will multiply the impact of your testimony to reach those who need to hear. Time is bending, my child. Do you perceive the signs? The wind that blows differently, the clouds that form patterns never seen before, the sun that seems to shine with an intensity that penetrates even the deepest shadows of your soul. These are manifestations of my love for you, trying to break the shell of indifference that has hardened your heart. There is an urgency in the air that you cannot ignore, as in the days of Noah, when the first drops of rain began to fall on a land that had never known rain. Genesis 6-9. As in the days of Lot, when the smell of sulfur began to permeate the air of Sodom. Genesis 19. As in the days of Moses, when the waters of the Nile turned to blood, Exodus 7-14-25. There is something supernatural happening around you, and only those who have eyes to see can see. Nature is in turmoil, relationships are being shaken, structures are collapsing, not by chance, but because I am setting the stage for a great transformation. Just as a surgeon needs to cut before healing, so too do I allow certain ruptures in your life to prepare you for a complete restoration. Have you felt that constant restlessness, that feeling that something important is about to happen? It is not anxiety, it is divine anticipation. It is your spirit recognizing that the heavens are moving in your favor. It is your soul sensing the dawn of a new day in your life. At the height of your despair, when you almost gave up, I allowed a memory to invade your mind. That last prayer you made as a child, asking that I never abandon you. Do you know why that memory came to the surface? Because I never forgot that promise. I have been with you every step of the way, even when you did not feel my presence. When you fell and hurt yourself, when you cried alone in the dark room, when they laughed at you and made you feel insignificant, when the doors closed and the dreams seemed to die, I was there, counting every tear, feeling every pain, planning every restoration. Nothing you have lived through was in vain. Every scar on your body, every wound on your soul has an eternal purpose. Do you remember that childhood prayer? The purity with which your lips pronounced my name, the absolute confidence you had in me before the world taught you to doubt? That child still lives within you, waiting to be rediscovered. That faith can still be resurrected, like Lazarus coming out of the tomb after 4 days, John 11. And now my voice returns, firm and sweet. There is still time. but only until tomorrow. These words are not a threat, my child, but an urgent invitation. The tomorrow I mention is not necessarily the sunrise of the next day, but the moment when the opportunity passes and the door closes. How many doors have already closed in your life because you hesitated too much? Do you see how precious this moment is? How rare this encounter is between your need and my provision, between your weakness and my power, between your confusion and my clarity. Do not waste it with hesitation. Do not diminish it with disbelief. Cling to this life raft that I extend to you in the midst of the stormy sea of your existence. With a heart on fire, I hope you understand. This tomorrow will be the dividing line between what has passed and what will come, between light and darkness, between who awakens and who gets lost. It is like when Joshua said to the people of Israel, "Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve." Joshua 24:15. Joshua's today is your today. Now is your only certainty. Tomorrow may be too late, not for me, for my love for you transcends time and space, but for those around you who need to see your transformation, for that reconciliation that can save a marriage, for that forgiveness that can restore a friendship, for that word of encouragement that can prevent a suicide. The choice is yours. Get up and go through the door before it closes forever, or hesitate and carry with you the eternal regret of one who did not act when it mattered most. Remember Lot and his wife, when the angels warned them to flee Sodom without looking back? Lot's wife hesitated, looked back, and turned into a pillar of salt. Genesis 19:26. Do not look back, my child. The past has already fulfilled its purpose in your life. How many times was Noah ridiculed while building the ark on dry land? For 120 years, he worked faithfully, while everyone around him mocked. But when the first drops of rain fell, the door of the ark closed, and those who laughed remained outside. Genesis 6-9. Do not remain outside your own salvation. When the paralyzed man was lowered through the roof so that I might heal him, his friends did not care what others would think. They did not let themselves be deterred by the crowd, by the structure of the roof, by social protocol. They had an urgency in their hearts that overcame any obstacle. Mark 2:1-12. You too, my child, need to feel that urgency. You need to understand that the moment is now. The tomorrow that I mentioned is not a date on the calendar, but a state of the soul. It is when sensitivity turns into callousness, when openness becomes resistance, when willingness turns into obstinacy. It is when the heart, so often ignoring my call, finally hardens to the point of no longer recognizing my voice. My child, with your heart on fire and your soul awakened, the moment has come to cross over, to cross the threshold between who you were and who you were created to be, between what defines you now and what will transform you forever. Just as the people of Israel crossed the Jordan to enter the Promised Land, Joshua 3, I invite you to cross the river of your doubts and fears. This is the defining moment, the turning point, the sacred instant in which your choices draw the map of your future. There is no more room for procrastination, for maybe tomorrow, for when I am ready. Readiness does not come before action, it comes during. It is in the very act of taking the first step that you will find the courage for the second. Reach out to your Father, even if He doesn't deserve it. For forgiveness is not approval of what He did, but liberation from what binds you. Call your sister today. Break the silence that has built walls between you and that relationship that suffocates you. Take the decisive step out of it, for I have prepared for you deeper and clearer waters. When Abraham left Ur of the Chaldeans, he did not know the destination. He only knew that I was calling him to a land that I would show him. Genesis 12. You also do not need to know all the details of the path. Just trust that I am guiding your steps, that I have a plan for your life, that I will never let you walk alone. Do not deceive yourself thinking it will be easy. The crossing is rarely smooth. There will be resistance, external and internal. Those who have become accustomed to your old version will try to keep you tied to the past. Your own mind, conditioned by years of negative patterns, will fight against transformation. But I will be with you, as I was with Daniel in the lion's den, Daniel 6, with the 3 Hebrew young men in the fiery furnace, Daniel 3, with Paul in his shipwrecks, Acts 27. Time is running out, my child, not because of my impatience, but because of the urgency of the love I have for you. When Daniel was in the lion's den, was it not my hand that shut the mouths of the beasts? So now I am ready to shut the mouths of your lions, the fear, the doubt, the self-condemnation that roar around you. Every second that passes is a grain of sand falling into the hourglass of opportunity. Every beat of your heart is a reminder that time is finite, but the consequences of your choices are eternal. Do not waste this precious moment that I offer you. Do not trade the possibility of transformation for the false security of inertia. Remember Esther, who risked everything when she entered the king's presence uninvited, saying, "If I perish, I perish." Esther 4:16. But she did not perish. She saved an entire nation. You too were placed in this world for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. Your courage today can save not only yourself, but many around you. When the blind Bartimaeus heard that I was passing by, he cried out for mercy. Even when they tried to silence him, he cried out even louder. Mark 10:46-52. His persistence opened eyes that had been closed for years. You too need to cry out, persist, fight against the voices that try to silence your cry for liberation. The crossing is not just a change of place, but a transformation of identity. When Jacob wrestled with me at the edge of the Jabbok River, he entered the fight as Jacob, the deceiver, and came out as Israel, he who struggles with God and prevails. Genesis 32:22-32. You too will come out of this crossing with a new name, a new identity, a new purpose. Before we finish this journey, I ask you, subscribe to this channel so we can continue this journey of transformation together. Share with those who need to hear these words. And above all, act. For faith without works is dead, James 2:26. It is not enough to believe that the sun will rise tomorrow. You must open the curtains so that its light illuminates your room. The tomorrow that I mentioned is already dawning on the horizon. The first lights of dawn already tinge the sky of your existence. Are you ready for this new reality? Are you willing to leave behind the heavy burden of resentment and embrace the lightness of forgiveness? The door of the ark is closing, my child. The waters of the flood begin to rise, but there is still room for you. There is still time for you to enter and save not only yourself, but also those who depend on your decision. Do not hesitate any longer. Do not negotiate with procrastination. Do not bargain with fear. When Peter walked on the water, it was my eyes fixed on him that sustained him above the waves. When he looked away and focused on the storm, he began to sink. But even then, my hand was stretched out to lift him up, Matthew 14:22-33. So now, my child, my eyes are fixed on you, and my hand is stretched out to sustain you above the waves of fear and indecision. My beloved child, never forget, before you were formed in the womb, I knew you, Jeremiah 1:5. Your tears were counted, your steps were measured, your future was dreamed by me. And now, I extend my hand to you. not as a stern judge, but as a loving father who anxiously awaits the return of his son to the home. The door is open, the path is prepared, my arms are outstretched. Only 2 steps remain, that of the decision and that of the action. The first happens in your heart, the second with your feet. Both are equally important. The tomorrow that I mentioned is not just a new day on the calendar, but a new chapter in the story of your soul. A chapter that we begin to write together now. Where the scars of the past are transformed into marks of a battle won. Get up, my child, cross over. I will be with you, just as I was with Moses at the Red Sea, with David before Goliath, with Paul in his chains. The time to hesitate is over. The time to act is now. There is still time, but only until tomorrow.